In a small town, there lived a young man named Rohan. He was kind-hearted and full of big dreams, but he had one major weakness. He always relied on others to make decisions for him. Whether it was about his studies, career, or personal life, he would constantly seek advice from his friends, family, or teachers, expecting them to guide him at every step. Rohan's father, a wise and experienced man, noticed this habit and grew concerned. One evening, as they sat outside their house, his father said, "Rohan, come with me tomorrow morning. I want to show you something important." Curious but unaware of what his father had in mind, Rohan agreed. The next morning, his father took him to a dense forest near their town. As they walked deeper into the woods, his father pointed to a young tree and asked, "Tell me, Rohan, how this tree stands so tall and strong?" Rohan thought for a moment and replied, "Because it gets water from the soil and sunlight from the sky." His father smiled and nodded. "That's true, but imagine if this tree started relying on another tree to grow. What do you think would happen?" Rohan was puzzled. His father continued, "If a tree depends on another tree for support instead of standing on its own, it will never grow strong. The moment the other tree falls, it will fall too." Rohan listened carefully. His father then took him further into the forest until they reached a deep well. The well was old, and its walls were covered in moss. His father picked up a stone, dropped it into the well, and asked, "Did you hear that?" Rohan replied, "Yes, I heard the stone hitting the water." His father nodded. "Now imagine if the stone refused to fall because it was waiting for another stone to accompany it. Would it ever reach the water?" Rohan shook his head. "No, it wouldn't." His father smiled. "That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you, my son. You are like that stone. You keep waiting for someone else to take the first step. You're waiting for others to decide your future, but life doesn't work that way. If you keep depending on others, you'll never reach your destination." Rohan stood there deep in thought. He realized how much time he had wasted waiting for validation and guidance from others. He remembered the many opportunities he had missed just because he was too afraid to take responsibility for his own choices. From that day on, Rohan decided to change. He started making decisions for himself, no matter how small. He stopped waiting for others to push him and took control of his own actions. First, it was difficult. He made mistakes, faced failures, and even doubted himself. But with each step, he grew stronger and more confident. Years later, Rohan became a successful entrepreneur. People in his town admired him for his courage and determination. One day, a young boy approached him and asked, "Sir, what is the secret to your success?" Rohan smiled and said, "The day I stopped depending on others and took charge of my own life, everything changed. Relying on others for every decision will only hold you back from growing." He paused for a moment and then continued, "Success and self-confidence come when you take responsibility for your own actions. If you want to change your life, stop waiting for others. Take the first step today."